we have to break this cycle of where people value this printout on the top. If you have a 1953 Pee Wee Reese, which is the coolest card ever, you don't want to have a printout on the top. And so what we did is we switched it where there would be, instead of a flip at the top, I wanted the case to be symmetrical. And we did a lot of tests about what was the
Yeah.
most appealing to the eye. But the most interesting change that we made is we laser etch the details of the card on the side of the case.
Hello, guys, and welcome into another episode of the Gordy Bonker Show. I am so excited for our guest interview this week on the show. Just a couple of weeks ago, I hosted Brian Pirrip of Mint Cases. Brian, you definitely have seen some of his content in the past. He's one of the largest hobby content creators in the game. He started building content in the hobby a couple years ago, traveling all across America, going to different card shops. He even jumped out of, I believe he was hang gliding, ripping open packs of cards. He's just had a really, really cool hobby background, and his experience building the Mint cases, which I'm no doubt certain that you guys have seen some videos of in the past, was super cool to dive into and learn more about. Brian's been an entrepreneur his entire life, and getting to learn a little bit more about what brought him to launching the Mint hobby case and what that product looked like is something that we dive into on the interview. Again, this interview took place at the Bonkers Cards Club October meeting, which was an absolute blast. We had over 30 different vintage card collectors come on the Zoom call, listen to Brian's story, and then have a little Q&A after, as well as talk a little bit about hobby content, what's new in terms of cards that we're chasing after in our collections. People got a chance to ask me and Brian some questions about where we see the hobby going. So it was a really good conversation. It was a great club meeting. If you are interested in joining the Bonkers Cards Club, would love to have you. We have over 150 members, I think exactly around 153 right now. And the Bonkers Cards Club gives you all sorts of different benefits, including exclusive market writing that I'm producing on a monthly basis about observations that I'm seeing in the sports card market. It gives you 10% off discounts on my vintage set breaks. It gets you invited into our club meetings, and it gets you early access to buy all private collections and card show pickups that I have before I go live on my live show, Bonkers Cards Live. So it's a great membership. It's $8.99 a month. It is on my Substack. You can check it out at bonkerscards.substack.com. Brian was an awesome guest, and I can't wait for you guys to get into the interview. So before I send you over to that interview, though, I want to talk a little bit about this week's card of the week. This week's card of the week is a 1949 Bowman Jackie Robinson. Now, this card has been on my radar for just a little over a year now. This card, I believe, has a large, significant upside in terms of the longer term trending value, as about a year ago we got confirmation that it was not the 1948 Leaf being his true rookie card. There was documentation, legal documents that were able to be surfaced that showed that 1948 Leaf is actually really 1949 Leaf. Most Leaf products in that year actually hit the shelves in 1949, meaning that this 1949 Bowman could in fact be Jackie Robinson's true rookie card. I actually decided to put a little data behind this and wrote a little bit more about it for Bonkers Cards Club members in an exclusive post I published on Monday of this week. And you guys can see the 2025 sales have been straight up on the 49 Bowman Jackie Robinson, and this is in PSA 7 specific grade. But you can literally see it bottomed right around that December time period, right before this news came out, around the 48-49 Leaf, and every sale has been a new fresh high on this card. It's going to be interesting to see where it goes. Obviously in 2023 it was selling for around where it is now. I've always felt that the 48 Leaf Jackie Robinson is not the most attractive looking copy. I like the 49 Bowman a little bit more. I like the color. I like the 49 Bowman set a little bit more than the 48 Leaf set. And I also have a second chart here that shows you guys the trend of both the 48 Leaf, 49 Leaf Jackie and the 49 Bowman Jackie. And you can see it's hovered around the same price point for the last couple of years. And I've just been kind of ruminating on this, thinking about it a little bit. I would not be surprised to see the 49 Bowman start to catch up in value to the 48, 49 Leaf Jackie. So for me, that's the card of the week. It's going to be interesting to follow. I have not sold a 49 Bowman or a 48 Leaf Jackie in a super high grade. I think the highest of either grade I've sold personally is around a 4 or 5. I'll be interested to follow this market and would love to see some higher end sales come to market. Maybe in the fall catalog auction, we'll see a couple of fresh comps. But it is a fun one to watch. And again, this week's card of the week, the 1949 Bowman Jackie Robinson, maybe rookie card. So I will now send the interview over to Brian. Thank you to last week's guest. If you guys didn't get a chance to watch it, I highly encourage you to check it out. I interviewed Tyler Schmidt at VaynerX. It was an awesome conversation about alternative assets, the collectibles market, what is fueling some of the growth in Pokemon, and all that good stuff. So reminder to check out that episode as well. And yeah, man, I'm very excited to introduce Brian Pirrip. Brian's a California native. This week's golf polo, I'm rocking the Torrey Pines golf polo, one of my favorite golf courses I've ever played for all you Californians out there. Very lucky to have some incredible golf courses. Pebble Beach is still on my radar, but I know Brian's out there in California. I'm sure he's seen or played Torrey Pines if he's a golfer. But either way, I'm very excited to introduce to you guys Brian Pirrip and my interview with him at the Bonkers Cards Club. I'll send you over there now. So this is the hobby case. And then the other product, which is the more premium product.
Yeah, then there's the G1. And for you vintage gentlemen, I give you a T206 Christy
Yeah.
Mathewson and a 1955 Roberto Clemente. And these are it's hard to really get it. Everyone that ever sees them in like in video or pictures, they're like, "Oh, that's really cool." But once you hold them in person,
Right.
it has this gravitas. There's a weight to it because of the steel and the glass, and it fully UV protected. To prove that, I've put a bunch of my own auto refractors in the sun every day for the last year to see if they would degrade, and it's at 99.99% UV protection. But we built a bunch of counterfeit measures into these. You cannot counterfeit them. We're probably going to do some prize where if somebody figures out how to counterfeit them, we'll give them $1 million or something. But the idea was, I really don't, no offense to anybody here. I'm going to offend at least one person, but I just do not like the red flips of PSA at the top.
Yeah.
I do not like the flips, mainly because uh, I think, detract from the card. I did not like how your eye goes directly up to this flip at the top that looks like a Dewey Decimal System from the 80s.
Right.
And that to me diminishes the art. So like when I go to see the Mona Lisa, I don't need to see some big printout above the Mona Lisa. There's a little plaque, very tasteful next to it, but I'm looking at the Mona Lisa. And that's how I want my card collection. So that was the first problem I had when I was doing this is I thought, we have to break this cycle of where people value this printout on the top. If you have a 1953 Pee Wee Reese, which is the coolest card ever, you don't want to have a printout on the top. And so what we did is we switched it where there would be, instead of a flip at the top, I wanted the case to be symmetrical. And we did a lot of tests about what was the
Yeah.
most appealing to the eye. But the most interesting change that we made is we laser etch the details of the card on the side of the case. And so when you actually have all your cases laid out, it's like books, spines, and you can easily see them.
Right.
But then we built these very sophisticated wall displays that we're going to be putting into every stadium of every sport in the world that use LEDs and LCD screens to be able to house all of these cases. I have them, a bunch of them on my social media channels. But we wanted to give to put the emphasis. So even on a like a landscape card like Clementi,
Yeah.
um, you're not distracted by any information. The card is the centerpiece, and then if you want to get to the details, you start seeing um, names. But then we took it a step further, and we realized that people still want to have a grading component. So we do have graded versions of these. So I partnered with Mike Baker of Mike Baker Authenticated, who's the rock star of all graders. He's the guy that started PSA grading. He's also the guy that did all three Mickey Mantle PSA 10s. He's done a bunch of the Hannes Wagners. He is the grader of graders. He's graded
Right.
like $10 billion worth of assets. And so he and I spoke about him. He goes, "You guys have the best materials in the world. We're the best grader in the world. Let's combine forces." And so as you see there, you got Mike Baker's logo on the side. This
Yep.
Kobe Bryant refractor graded as an 8. The details on there on the side. And so this is actually a graded case by Mike Baker. And we're going to be partnering with all the graders. So I've, talked to all the major graders. So imagine taking your collection, you have your perfect, say you have your 52 Mickey Mantle. and it's a
Right.
PSA, whatever, that much like a reholder or a crossover, like if you move from, Beckett to PSA, or you break your PSA case and have it reholdered, the grader would essentially reholder and give the opportunity of switching from plastic cases into
That's
glass
great.
and steel.
You
So
know,
the idea is I never wanted to be a grader. I never wanted to try to compete with graders like Rare Edition tried to do these. To do that, they tried to be a great grader and a great case maker, and they failed at both. And
right.
so we thought, let's do everything we can to make the world's best protections displays. Let's stay in our lane and let's partner with all the graders. So at least the people have the option of upgrading their collections or sending in cards and having them actually given, you know,
That's great. Yeah,
much
I mean
better
that
ways.
is just I held this at the National. It's just a beautiful card. It displays like art, and especially when you have it, when you're clicking it into like the mount that you have, like that is just such a cool way to display items. I mean, the cases that I have behind me, they're similar. Like a lot of the guys in the club have these Amazon cases behind me, but what you're building, like that's really artistic, and I think that's where there's a huge gap in the market, and you're attacking it in a great way. So that G1, that's the premium product.
Yeah, yeah,
Is
we call it
that
a mint case G1.
the mint case G1? Can people go buy this now? Are you able to go grab these, or what is
Uh,
the?
Not yet. No, we sell the hobby cases right now only on Walmart and also on our website.
Okay.
But we I didn't want to release this until it was absolutely perfect in every way. And so I'm going to be releasing. So far, we've only given the only G1s that have gone into the market. We've been giving out as like prizes as part of that golden ticket process.
Yeah.
So I gave away like a 1957 Topps Mickey Mantle that wasn't a PSA 8. I swapped it over into a G1. And so that was the initial prize of this quest that we did, where
Yeah.
we put in that one golden ticket into the cases that went out. But these G1s, as far as sale to the public, there are people that are currently on our wait list on our website, which is mintaverse.com. It's with a one instead of an I for Mintaverse. And so on our website, there's a wait list, and we're going to be doing a very limited run this winter. Essentially, the main component that I've been kind of waiting for was our computer chip that goes on the inside, because we wanted to make sure that the tech platform had at least the basic functionality, so that when
Yeah.
you scan your case, something actually happened. And
That's
so
awesome.
there's a full blockchain integration provenance. It essentially, because of the kind of chip and the value of the asset class, the entire thing becomes an NFT. It's
Yeah.
completely non-fungible token.
And that will clearly give you that identity that you own this asset as well.
100%.
Like that piece to it alone could be the most valuable component of this whole business that you build is
Yeah.
chip and like that ownership component. I think that's phenomenal. The
Yeah.
card that I will eventually try to put in this, I see you I like the Clemente, Brian, but is that a pool host in one of those as well? The Bowman Chrome, my like
Uh,
favorite modern card ever made.
this is my
Yeah.
favorite modern card. It's
This
a thing of
that
beauty.
is so gorgeous. I need that card eventually. I want it like that is a grail item for me. And it's surprising because this is more modern than anything I ever speak about.
I know it's so weird talking hearing you talk modern there, Gordy.
This card is going to be worth so much money one day. To kids like me that grew up, Pool House was my god, and that card is the single best Pool House card ever produced. There's only 500 of them. It's just true Bowman Chrome refractor auto. There's only 500 made. Look at that. And the way that displays in that case is just gorgeous. I will eventually get that card one day. It's an awesome piece.
Hey,
I
as
love
soon
it.
as you get it, send it over, and I'll put it into a G1, Gordy.
I love it. I think that's great, man. So yeah, and then timeline on the G1, like release to public. Do you have a date yet in mind?
Yeah, my goal is December, but most likely it'll be January.
Okay.
And then we're gonna release a very limited run where we allow people to send in cards either to Mike Baker or to us, and we'll encapsulate, have him grade, encapsulate whatever, send back. And but then we're gonna do a much larger release with a couple Hall of Famers in the spring.
Excellent. I can't wait for that. I'll definitely be a part of it. And I thank you for spending some time talking to us about it. And I want to congratulate you on the growth that you've had with it. it's a great product from, start to finish. And, especially and it's a great founder. Just your whole story, your content journey has been awesome. And I definitely encourage everybody who's listening to the podcast now, to go give Brian a follow on all social media. I'm going to stop here for a second and I'm going to ask the audience if there's anybody out there that has any questions for Brian, just as a little Q&A, because I think it would be good if anyone's curious about anything that Brian's done collecting wise, his insights in the hobby. He speaks to a lot of investors, other collectors. Is anyone out there that would have any questions for Brian?
Of course, Gordy, I have a question.
Go ahead, Larry.
All right. So absolutely love your story. That's awesome. I've been an entrepreneur all my life. So, kudos to you. Love what you're doing. Really, really like your product. I do have a question though about the cross grading and how that works. And by the way, twice now, Gordy, this beauty has been brought up on your meeting tonight. So I have to say thank you both for bringing up the 53 Bowman Pee Wee Reese card.
Yes.
But so for a PC collection where you don't necessarily want to grade on it, I could see your stuff all over my walls because I'm getting tired of looking at these cases behind me. But when it comes to cards that have, that are graded, were graded a while ago, new grades on new cards, to get them into your slabs and have that grade on the side, where do you see the value with that? I mean, unless PSA is saying, is it being regraded? Are they taking the same grades over? Is PSA saying, hey, your grade 9, 53, Bowman Chrome in your slabs, Brian, in a 9 is the same value as a 9 here. Like for resale down the road, when I die and I have to give these cards to leave them, not to anyone, although for some reason Gordy's name is on, for my wife to reach out to Gordy if I drop dead. Those cards are going to need to go for sale, and to crack out a PSA 9, 53 Pee Wee Reese, putting it into your slab, yes, would look beautiful now, but what happens down the road when that card needs to go out to sell or go out to auction? Where do you see that value? And are you working, you maybe can't answer this, but are you working with a company like PSA who literally owns and I think monopolizes the value of cards right now, whether or not it's good or bad?
Well,
where do you are they going to cross grade it and say, hey, in Brian's cases, a PSA 9 is it's authentic to a PSA 9, or a PSA 9 with us is authentic to your grades? I know you have the guy who started PSA looking and grading cards, but is he regrading cards?
Yeah,
because I'll send him a couple of PSA 4s if I think he get a higher grade.
Yeah, these are great questions. Actually, I had a disaster happen with my Pujols because that was a PSA 9, and I sent it to Mike Baker, and he goes,
"Is that Gordy's Holy Grail card?"
Yes, it is.
Oh boy!
So I sent this to Mike Baker, and I said, I'd love for you to do a crossover into your grade and move it in. And he goes, I hate to tell you, Brian, after looking at it, PSA messed up. It's not a 9, it is an 8.
And when did you get that graded by PSA? Because
I had this graded by PSA. I never actually got it graded by PSA. I bought it off eBay in a PSA 9 slab, but it was one of the new slabs. And so I'd say relatively recently. But,
got it.
So I remember Mike was like, "Hey, just tell you, man, it's an 8." And I said, "Hey, I gotta put my money where my mouth is. I would rather have accuracy." And so we moved it across. But the whole idea,
but let's talk about that with that particular card.
Yeah.
So let's just say tomorrow you're like, you know what, don't want on my PC anymore. You want to put it up on eBay, which I know you would never do, but just using that as an example.
Sure.
A PSA 9 is going to fetch tens of thousands of dollars more than right now that card in a slab that people may not be familiar with. Although if you could figure out a way to have PSA match that grade, man, you got me sold in a heartbeat.
Well, that is, you're going to be happy because that is exactly what we're doing. Is we're not going to have these be like, oh, that's a mint case. It'll be like that's a mint case, but that's a PSA 10 on the side.
Yeah.
So the idea is that we are not. I don't want to be a grader. In fact, all the first cases that we originally did, I kept them raw. So like my Michael Jordan card, this is a raw zero grade in a mint case because I just wanted to have it for a test. This was my very first prototype of the new cases, and so the idea is that we're going to be working with PSA. We're working with CGC. I've had a yes from all of the graders on this project. It's a matter of implementation and systems. But I've sat in Peter's office in Florida at Boca Raton and showed him this, and he goes, "SGC has to have these." And the whole idea would be that if you have an SGC 8 whatever, and SGC would remove the card themselves, cross it over into this case, and they would treat it literally like a reholder. It's kind
Yeah.
of like if you break a Beckett case or break a SGC case, you drop it, you crack it, or you want the case has gotten bad over time, and you want it to have a fresh holder because you want to put it up for sale. Well, you send it back into the original grader for the reholder system. And so the idea was that it would be a reholder system, that the crossovers would only happen if you're switching brands. So Mike Baker, I wanted him to be my first grader because we were going to only do a small number of releases. And there's no way I could keep up right now with PSA kind of numbers anyways. It's just these are very
Right.
sophisticated and slower. But the idea is that you're going to be able to have a mint case with a PSA grade on the side, or an SGC grade, or raw, or CGC, or Mike Baker. To me, it doesn't matter. I would rather people select whatever grader it is that they want, but I want to give people the option for better cases. And if people want raw cards, we do those as well.
Would PSA recognize that grade on the side of the card? I mean, do you ever foresee maybe if PSA can, get their prices to a certain area? And I grade a ton with PSA.
Yeah, it would be
Um,
like that. I've spoken with Ryan Hoge about
I mean,
this. Yeah.
would they ever maybe have an option? Hey, you can get it in this 29-cent plastic piece of crap slab, or you
Yeah.
can get it in one of those slabs, because I would get it in that slab all day long. It can't, just to have it on the side. I think that would look so cool.
Yeah, it would be like that. It's kind of like when iPhone first came out, right? Everyone was BlackBerry user, or they were a candy bar user, or flip phone user. Everyone got a free phone with their 2-year subscription with their plan, and everyone was quite happy with that. The BlackBerry people were CrackBerry users. They were obsessed with their BlackBerries. I'm sure there's a lot of guys on this call that probably loved their BlackBerry and said, I would never give up my QWERTY keyboard for this new iPhone that showed up. And I remember that because I was working at Disney at the time, and I bought the very first iPhone that ever came out. It was 2007, and I walked into the office, and the next morning, as soon as it arrived, and I took it in, and I was always an early adopter on technology, and I was showing it around the office, and people were like, "Nobody's going to use a touchscreen like that. I want to be able to feel the buttons when I push them." Or the Motorola guys were like, "No, I got to be able to flip my phone." And the Nokia guys were like, "No, I like this indestructible phone. I'm never going to use that iPhone." And it took like about a year or so before people really started going, actually, there's some real benefits here with this App Store and everything else that Apple had created for it. And so I kind of see that parallel as this is like right now, PSA, they have their different classes of pricing for, different speeds, or also if you have the more expensive the card, the more expensive you're going to pay for it. But they know, PSA knows that they're only providing a grade. They know that the case is an afterthought. And so the discussions I've had with them and the other graders is this is inevitable. We know that the market is going to go this way. We know that Ruben loves our cases. And so it's a matter of operations and timing and supply chain and making sure that the systems work between it's a very complex system to add in these new SKUs into these companies. So it's going to be the thing where a little mint team will be inside PSA, will be inside SGC, will be inside CGC, and doing only the encapsulation process. Whereas the grading, it's pretty neutral. Like once the grade is done, it's put onto the little trolley to go into the hypersonic welding machine section. And so all you have to do is just change that where it goes into the section with the Mint G1 cases. And we call it the G1 because every year we're going to put out the G2, the G3, the G4 as we can improve anything that we can do to improve
Yeah.
on these systems over the next few, several years, as long as I'm running the company. We're going to continue to improve on them, like GPS tracking and things like that. We want to have theft deterrent of every possible kind. We want to make it so that nobody will ever have a high value card stolen again. And if it is stolen, that person's not going to be able to sell it if you try to sell like a Rembrandt on the open market, you have to do it on the black market. And so we're trying to really, one of my major goals with card collecting is to kill counterfeiting once and for all because I hate it. Bought a counterfeit card before. I know what it's like, and I don't like it. And the other thing is to kill, theft as best as I'm able, and to also elevate design and display to give people just better options. I think to me, it's been sad that graders print money based on, giving people the service. And I think that's great. The service is great, but the cases, the displays, and all of that has always been an afterthought. They know it's an afterthought. They've tried to do something similar, and it's a very expensive, hard process to go and build these kinds of technologies and materials. You have to have a whole section of your company dedicated. And so we kind of thought, let's swoop in, let's solve this problem, and then let's go bring this to them as a value add to these companies. And I think and they all like it. I've spoke with the heads of all those companies. They all love it. They actually have asked me for their own cards and to put into the cases on the sly outside of
Uh,
just so we know it's coming. It's just how do we implement it in the right way at the right time? And so it's to answer your question with a very long answer. Yes, you're going to be able to
no,
have your PSA
yeah, I mean, I
cards in
literally,
these cases.
the day I could do that, I probably have about 1,000 slabs that I would switch over in a heartbeat.
That's
Well,
awesome.
can't wait to make
I
that happen for you someday, Larry.
I want to see if I can do one more question. I want to be respectful of Brian's time. Brian, I want
Uh,
to, if you're around, if you want to stick around, I have an idea on because I know we want to give away a couple of these hobby cases.
Sure.
And I think the winners of Guess the Card, we can give some hobby cases to.
Yeah.
So if you want to stick around for that, that'd be great. I also, if you could, can you hold up the Roberto Clemente again? I want to put this picture of you with the club on my Instagram story.
See,
So
this is the card that I wanted to show you at the National, Gordy, and I realized when I got there I'd forgotten it.
Flip it up to you got some glare there. So no,
Yeah.
that's
I got a great picture. I'm going to, I'll get this up on my Instagram story tonight. And thank you guys all so much for staying on. Does anyone else have a question for Brian?
Hey, Gordy, I have a question.
Andrew, hit me.
Hey, so I'm a product of the junk wax era. My
Nice.
early retirement plan was built on the backs of Greg Jeffries and Todd Van Poppel, which is why I'm working multiple
My
jobs
guy.
right now. But my question's actually related to your content. Number one, and I hope they're kind of fun. Number one, I know you give away packs and such when you go to cards, and I've seen you do that in stadiums. What's the biggest card that someone's pulled out of a pack that you gave? And then the second one is which are your next cards in the quest?
Oh man, great questions, man. Whenever I kind of for the rest of you that haven't seen my content, I like going to baseball games, basketball games, and I kind of throw packs out into the crowd like a crazy person. And so it's really fun because I'll throw a bunch of packs out, and then I see people literally trading with each other in the stands after, giving out a box or two of junk wax. And but the biggest card I've ever seen. Pulled from a pack I've given out. 89 Upper Deck Ken Griffey Juniors. I bought a couple cases of 89 Upper Deck, and it's kind of become a little ubiquitous with or synonymous with my content because I've always got Upper Deck with me. That was my favorite set ever, that in 1990 Leaf. And so I've seen people pull Frank Thomas rookies, Sammy Sosa rookies, but I don't think there's ever been anything huge. I mean, I had the one where we were at a ZZ Top concert, me and a couple of my guys, and at the Grand Ole Opry in Nashville, Tennessee. And I had 3 packs of 2011 Topps Update. And so I'm there, everybody's having a great time. It's like right before the concert starts, and a couple of people had ripped packs, and then I opened a pack, and sure enough, like the eighth card in there was this exact Mike Trout card,
Yeah,
and
that's awesome.
so that was like this incredible kind of moment. We're all high-fiving, but Not a lot of huge cards because I tend to do mainly the junk wax. And for the next quest that I'm doing, I'm still on the lookout for the Tony Gwynn rookie card. That one's killing me to try to find it out of pack. I've opened like, what is it, like 6 boxes of the stuff, 83 tops. I haven't found the Tony Gwynn yet. Uh, so, so
Gordy,
the goal is to
didn't
pull
you
that.
sell me a box of 83 tops?
I think I did. It was either,
Yeah,
I think I
I
did.
still, I
Yeah,
have it.
that's a great set, man.
Still sealed, still sealed.
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
but I was thinking about taking a box. I have like one more box, 83 tops. I was thinking about going to Padres in the spring, hooking up with Tony Gwynn Jr. and ripping the box at the stadium for like opening day or something and seeing if we can pull his dad. So that's kind of my plan for 2026.
That's awesome. Well, I love it. I want to, Brian, we'll have you on for the rest of the club meeting. And I'll get a chance for anyone else to ask some questions following it. But I want to wind down the interview here, and I want to remind everybody who's listening on the Gordy Bonker Show and the podcast right now, just where can they go find you? Just give us a quick blurb of your social media handles, website, anything interested in terms of products. Let us know where we can find you.
Yeah, best place to look is my website is Mintaverse, M1NTAVERSE, Mintaverse.com. That's where you'll see a lot of the cool prototypes that we've built, like our wall displays.
Yeah.
And there's a tab there about the vision and like all the different kind of iterations of us building. My content, though, TikTok, Instagram, are Brian Pirrip. That's BrianPirrip. A lot of people think that my last name Pirrip has to do with ripping cards,
Yeah.
but people are like, "Oh, you're Brian Rips," and I'm like, "No, Brian Pirrip." And it's just kind of funny like that. But you
Awesome.
go to at Brian Pirrip on Instagram or TikTok. I think on Facebook it's official Brian Pirrip, and then YouTube as well is I think it's Brian Pirrip. But
Awesome. So
yeah,
go
check it out.
follow Brian Pirrip and check out these mint cases because I really think they're going to take over the hobby and continue to grow just a massive share in this space. It's an amazing product that needed to get brought to the market. So thank you for doing that on behalf of all of us in the collecting world. This will wrap up the Gordy Bonker Show podcast episode. But for Bonkers Cards Club members, you guys hang around. We're going to keep Brian a little bit longer. Brian, I want to let you know as well. You are now an honorary member of the Bonkers Cards Club. You are a full-time subscriber, so we'll get you in, and you're always welcome back to join these club meetings. If you just want to talk hobby with the guys, you'll have an invite here for the rest of the time. So thank you so much for joining us and having you on the show. So appreciate it, man.
No, I really appreciate it. You guys sound like my kind of guys, and I just love hanging out and talking with like-minded individuals. You know, where were you guys 15 years ago, huh? What's it like hanging out with you guys back then?
It's
So no,
awesome.
it's a real pleasure. Thank you so much, Gordy. This was a joy to do.
Great. Thank you, guys.